Hello, friends. Back once again. Beautiful Monday for the UFC recap, UFC Macau recap, aka UFC Fight Night, Jan versus Figueiredo. It was quite possibly one of, not even one of, it was one of, if not the best fight night of 2024, man. It was fucking crazy. It was worth the price of admission for American audiences, which was staying up until 3 a.m. to watch these fights. Oh God, I didn't make it. I was trying to hold on. If you came to the Smoky Hours Fight Companion, it became Sleepy Hours. I stood up all night trying to wait for the fights. The night before, I was out with friends up until literally like 6, 7 a.m. It was fucking very spooky indeed. I was like, all right, I'm just going to power through it. I'll stay up all day. And then by 3 a.m., the fights will be on, like, blah, blah, blah. And then ended up paying for it. I should have made some coffee, but without further ado, we'll get back into it. We'll talk more about the sleepy hours when we get to it. It was, like I said, a great night of fights. Great Smoky Hours Fight Companion. Way better than I expected it to. I wasn't really sure what to expect because of the time of the fights, especially for American audiences, like I said, but we had a ton of fresh faces. Thank you to everyone who pulled up, everyone who subscribed. Really appreciate it, man. Even if you were just in there for a couple minutes, just left a comment or two, I appreciate it. Shout out to Casual MMA. He was the last dude to subscribe and the last dude in the Smoky Hours Fight Companion because I woke up and I saw this dude who was like, oh, I subbed because bro is knocked out. Oh, that shit was great. Big shout out to Bendover, a.k.a. Isaac, a.k.a. Johnny Depp. OG supporter of this channel, man, was trying to wake me, trying to rouse me from my slumber, but it was too late. I was gone. It was hilarious watching it back. I slept for like an hour and a half on that shit. And I could see I was fighting. I was trying to tell people, I was like, I'm fighting it. I'm going. I'm not going to be able to make it. I thought I was going to be able to make it. I was just playing around, but I didn't make it. It was over once I covered myself with the poncho. There's like, you can see in the Smoky Hours fight in the Fight Companion, I cover myself with the poncho, the shit I usually wear to make picks in. And that was it. Like that's like a little, not tick, but that's like a thing for me. Like if I cover myself with something, I'm going to fall asleep like a child, like conditioning. But without further ado, first early prelim of the night, it was Nicholas Motto versus Mahashate, how you say her. I missed a little bit of it. I missed the opening part of it, but it was a great fight from what I saw. I had picked this man Mahashate. He was landing on Nicholas Motto, but the spooky part was that I saw Mahashate get dropped like 3 times in 2 rounds, and I think he got dropped in the first round as well. I came in like right at the tail end of the first round. Because I want to say in rounds 2 and 3, Mahashate, I think in round 2 or maybe round 3, he got dropped twice. But in both rounds, in every round, I think, he would get dropped just right off rip. Like the first encounter, first sequence, Mahashate goes down. But he would survive. He came back. He was landing heavy shots on Nicholas Motto. Nicholas Motto took some damage as well. I think maybe he got his own knockdown in the last round as well, but maybe not. Ended up losing that one by unanimous decision. I think that was correct from what I saw. That was very calm. Moving on to what was a crazy fight. It was the low-key rally for Long Zhao. Long Zhao versus Quang Li. I'd picked Quang Li to get this one done by nasty second-round TKO or KO. It almost happened. Long Zhao, I thought, was actually getting touched up a little bit, at least in the first round, until he started to work his way into the fight. He was beating Quang Li to the punches, taking everything that Quang Li could offer him. Even though Quang Li was cracking the fuck out of Long Zhao just took it, man. He took it. He kept on pouring it on Quang Li, started landing his own big, heavy shots. Every 10 seconds, he would call for the slugfest, call for the duel. Quang Li never accepted it, but he ended up rocking and catching Quang Li bad, like in the 3rd round. Put him out. Great finish for Long Zhao. That was a very good fight. Great fucking card, man. Great card. Moving on. Lanier Kavanaugh versus Jose Ochoa. I was trying to tell people about Jose Ochoa, man, and it went kind of how I thought it would. Lanier won a decision, but Jose Ochoa showed people that he's a dog, man. He's a savage. He's a fucking warrior. That's what I'm talking about. That's the Peruvian fighting spirit. What they lack in maybe straight technical skill or fighting experience, they just make it up in heart and just fucking savagery. Just straight savagery. Jose Ochoa is a dude that's going to give a lot of people problems. I'm excited to see him in the UFC. Lonier Kavanaugh lived up to the hype somewhat. Didn't finish Jose Ochoa, but he definitely landed on Jose Ochoa. Jose Ochoa was landing multiple times and having success against Lanier. Just Lanier was able to really damage Jose. Jose was wearing some damage. That was a great fight. Moving on. Carlos Hernandez versus Yamjargel Tumendemberel. Unfortunately, I was kind of spooked that this fight would go kind of the way it went, where Carlos Hernandez would be able to work his grappling, and we know that Carlos Hernandez is not a scrub. He's not a scrub. This was going to be a tough fight for Yamjargel unless he got a round one super early brutal knockout, which I thought he was going to get, to be fair. I thought he was going to be able to use his reach and size advantage, but Carlos Hernandez completely negated that. Good for him. Great fight for Carlos Hernandez, man. Great fucking fight. Was standing and trading with Yamjargel, landing his own big shots. Oh, it was spooky, man. Moving on. First women's fight of the night. Road to UFC final. Ming Shi versus Feng Xiaoken. Man, this was a fucking insane fight. I thought I was going to get in trouble with my parents because it was like 5:30 a.m. and I screamed because not only was this an insane comeback, even though Ming Shi wasn't in like danger of really being finished or anything, she was just getting beaten decisively, getting her ass beaten a little bit. She throws up an unholy head kick. The doctor completely violates the Hippocratic Oath and fucking kills Feng Xiaoken. In fact, if you were in the live stream, maybe 10 minutes or 20 minutes later, I was like, damn, we just saw Feng Xiaoken get killed, and I had to take that back because it actually looked like she got real fucked up. Just in case something happened, I didn't want to have that on my conscience, so I had to say that disclaimer. Feng Xiaoken looked absolutely crazy at first, physically and just how slick her strikes looked. I'd actually made a joke, and people were saying that they couldn't unsee it. Feng Xiaoken, the way that she was fighting and standing, she looked like a female Carlos Prates, like super long build, super lanky build. Just their silhouette and their stance was very similar. Ming Shi was taking it, was really struggling with that reach advantage, was getting touched up repeatedly by Feng Xiaoken until in the third round, she just let it go. You could see she was throwing everything into her punches and caught her with a fucking beautiful, beautiful head kick. Absolutely slept her. Had her stiff, eyes open. We had hospital updates for the next couple of hours. It was scary. It was a little scary, I'm not going to lie, but fantastic knockout. Even more brutal than fucking Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty, getting smoked by Josh Emmett. It was worse than that. Great fight. Insane comeback. I'm looking forward to Ming Shi and her career. We will be watching you closely. Moving on. A fight that I kind of was very upset that it went this way. I thought it was not going to go this way. I thought it was going to be very competitive at least. But Dong-Hoon Choi versus Kiru Singh Sahota. I picked Kiru Sahota to win this one. I thought that he would be able to use his range and just the volume, striking, the style of Kiru Sahota would be able to keep Dong-Hoon Choi at bay. Plus the fact that Dong-Hoon takes a decent amount of damage, and he is a bleeder. He was bleeding even though he barely got touched. That was the funny thing. He literally started bleeding at the end of the fight. But pretty much off rip super early. Actually, it wasn't as early as I thought, but I want to say in the first half of round number 1, just a big sequence, hops in, snipes Kiru Sahota. Kiru Sahota looked slower than usual, than I've seen him before, I should say. Maybe not slower than usual, but slower than I've seen him before. Absolutely sniped him, stiffed him, finished him brutally. Good fight. Good for Dong-Hoon Choi. I do think that he's going to get exposed, though. Bad in the UFC. Like, real bad. We're going to see a bloodbath, and that dude's going to be the victim of it. Moving on again. This is a fight that I regret not. I kind of tweaked out a little bit. Su Young Yu versus Abergang Jalisi. I've seen this dude's name written like 5 different ways at this point. But Su Young Yu, Jiu-Jitsu, man, he was fucking powerful. He was just a way better fighter than Abergang. Abergang had nothing to offer him. That was actually a fraud check, I'm not going to lie. Even though Abergang really isn't hyped up to be anything, it was a hardcore fraud check. Jay Lacey is nowhere near UFC caliber, could not use his physical advantages to any kind of benefit. Su Young Yu completely neutralized him. It was very calm to see. Moving on. Ming Zhang versus Ozzy Diaz. Ozzy Diaz looked a little... Excuse me. Ozzy Diaz looked a little spooky coming out there at first. But Ming Zhang was very calm, very composed. Eventually did what he had to do. Caught Ozzy Diaz with like a fucking beautiful, picture-perfect elbow that just dropped him bad. Followed it up, finished it up with some ground and pound in round number 1. Called the round number 1 KO TKO for Ming Zhang. I think that was a little bit predictable. But it was a good finish. Good for Ming Zhang. Moving on. Carlos Ulberg versus Volkan Ozdemir. Now, this was... It seemed like a slower fight because these dudes were trying to take each other's heads off, but it was very fucking spooky. Volkan had maybe moments of his own where Carlos looked like he was in trouble, even though Carlos was never really wearing any physical damage. Volkan was touching him at times. Carlos Ulberg, though, was touching Volkan repeatedly and damaging him. You could see the damage on Volkan. That was a good fight. Carlos Ulberg got it done by a calm, unanimous decision. I thought he was going to get a round 2 finish, almost, but... It did not happen. Now, here we go to a real fraud check. The biggest fraud check that we've seen, I think, in a while, actually. I think that we've seen since Tom Nolan got fraud checked by Nicholas Mota. Gabriela Fernandez versus Wang Song. Wang Song. Now, I knew that Wang Song was not going to be able to finish Gabriela Fernandez, right? But I did think that she was going to win. I had her winning by decision. Gabriela withstood the storm. I think that Wang Song looked very confident. She looked, and she was trying to fight in that confident kind of prospect rising star way. But Gabriela dropped the fuck out of her. Oh, he was in round 2. I thought it was the 3rd round, actually. Dropped the fuck out of her. And immediately pounced on the back for a deep, deep rear naked choke, man. Deep rear naked choke. Sleeps Wang Song. Right out. 1 fraud check to the order of Wang Song, man. Absolute war and great fucking win for Gabriela Fernandez. A girl that just went to war with Carly Judice. Now, again, that puts in perspective what I was saying about Victoria Leonardo. Victoria Leonardo, and I mean no disrespect if she's watching this or if her team is watching this, but Victoria Leonardo was brought into the Wang Song fight as fodder. Straight up fodder. Cannon fodder. She was there to be knocked out. Specifically to be knocked out. Jesus Christ. So much dust and shit flying in my room right now. Excuse me. Oh, God. Disgusting. And I never edit the recap video, so all this stuff is going to be left in. Enjoy that, but a little ASMR for you. Sitting right in the sun, double layered with a spider fleece and a fucking Armani cardigan. I'm baking. Holy shit. But back to the picks. Gabriel Fernandez smokes on Wang Song. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm very much with that. I want to see Wang Song smoked. I want to see Wang Song go to 6-6 now. And again, we had this followed up with a crazy fucking knockout again. Muslim Salihov versus Kenan Song Kanan. Man, this is spooky because Muslim Salihov, even though I backed him in this one, and I've been backing him, I know about the King of Kung Fu. You have to admit, it looked like age was starting to catch up with Muslim Salihov, right? Not in this fight. Out of nowhere. Not even out of nowhere, because that is Muslim Salihov's thing. Muslim Salihov pulls up with the spinning wheel kick onto the Marty. Absolutely Daddy's Kenan Song. Holy shit, and the arena roars. The crowd screams. Ah! Ah! Shit was crazy. Absolutely phenomenal one for Muslim Salihov. That's what we're talking about, brother. The King of Kung Fu. That's why we make that pick. Fucking phenomenal. And then here's where I started to go off the deep end a little bit. I was really struggling when it came to the co-main event. Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci, Baby Shark. I actually predicted that Yan would be able to get a round 3 KO TKO because Tabitha Ricci actually is an extremely skilled magician and illusionist. Despite what you see when you watch her fight, she has no hands. She doesn't have hands. It's bizarre because you can see that there's some kind of appendage, some extremity at the end of her wrist that the glove sits on, but she doesn't actually have hands. It's bizarre. I started falling asleep during this fight. Even though I was awake during it, I actually really can't tell you much because I was going in and out. I was fighting to stay alive. I couldn't hold on by the end, and I KO'd. Jesus Christ, I hope I'm not getting sick. There's just a fuck ton of dust and stuff, like I said, flying around in the air right now. Yan Zhenong got that one done very calmly by decision. Was there anything else I wanted to say about that? A couple of the people in chat were saying that the fight was kind of boring, so that might have something to do with why I fell asleep. But Zhenong Yan got it done. Very good for her. I wanted to see Tabitha Ricci get knocked the fuck out, but we'll wait until next time. Moving on to the main event, which I missed in its entirety, and I actually still haven't watched, now that I think about it, really just going off of what I said and read. But apparently this man, Petr Yan, put on the masterclass and smoked Deiveson Figueiredo, possibly dropped him a couple times, sat him down. He said, they call me Serbian gangster, but my new name is No Mercy. No mercy. Petr Yan, no mercy. If you know that clip, you know that clip, man. That clip is hard as fuck. But I was very scared, actually, about this pick, about the Petr Yan pick, because I've been repeating this during the live stream. Every fight that I had seen Deiveson Figueiredo Figgy fight at 135 always left me thinking, damn, Figgy is problematic again. Like, he's a real fucking problem at 135 now. That concerned me. Also, Petr Yan has been recovering from a lot of injuries. He's been through wars. There was many reasons to be concerned about this fight, but ultimately he ended up getting it done in dominant fashion. I called the decision pick. It was a decision pick. Our main event streak continues. I don't know if we're on a streak, but we usually do okay with the main events. I might have mentioned this in my prediction video. This might be a little trick that you can use from here on. I don't know. I haven't really went back to look at like the data, so to speak, but I've noticed that my main event pick has been on, but my first pick of the night of the event, always, like my first early prelim pick, is usually always fucking wrong. I don't know why. That like, not every time, but a lot of the time. And I'm low-key the most confident about those fights, about the fucking prelim fights, but anyways, just a little side tangent. I'll let you go. I'll let you enjoy your beautiful Monday. Hold your family close. Pray for peace on earth and goodwill towards all mankind. Picks coming out tomorrow, probably, if not Wednesday. We're almost at 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers special coming very soon. Going to be slightly dependent on the weather here in New York City because it does get cold and it's going to be a physical challenge that I have to do outside. So it just can't be too brick for that. But we still have some insane weather right now. So depending on when we get to 100 subscribers and when I make that video, that'll come out. That's going to be a completely different type of video, though. I hope I see you very soon. Thanks again to everyone, both familiar faces and new faces that pulled up to the Smoky Hours live stream. It means so much to me, man. I really appreciate every single person that hops in just to leave a like, just to leave a comment, just to drop a heart, the little emotes, anything, man. It means so much more to me than you possibly know. And that's what I'll leave you with. I want to thank you, seriously, for taking me this far. We're not even at 100 subscribers yet, but really, I sincerely thank you. And I hope to give you guys more content, more entertainment, really. If I can just make you smile, make you laugh, just give you 1 second of entertainment, then I did my job in my book. And we are both very happy. We're both satisfied. Okay? I want the both of us to be satisfied in this one. It got a little crazy there, but as always, thank you for watching. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. Leave a comment below why you dislike it. Leave a comment below on your thoughts, what you had for breakfast, whatever the hell you want, man. Whatever the hell you want. Any suggestions on content you'd like to see? Working on setting up the gaming stream that will probably, at least earlier on, take place on Twitch, just because I'm playing on a console. I'm playing on an Xbox One, so it would just be a lot easier for me to stream directly from my Xbox One to Twitch, as opposed to having to do like a little runaround to get the YouTube stuff set up. So we're just going to have to do gaming streams on Twitch for now. Still trying to get that set up. playing all types of games that I have. Shit on Game Pass, Call of Duty, popular games, less popular games, obviously, single player games, all that good stuff. Yeah, one more time, as always, thanks for watching. Much love. Big kiss.